Oh, no, yeah. Every time I think it's not going to focus, and then it does. Hiya, okay. Let's talk about moments of grace. So, first of all, let's read through it. I dream through a wordless, familiar place. The small boat of the day sails into morning, past the postman with his modest haul. The full trees which sound like the sea, leaving my hands free to remember. Moments of grace, like this. Shaken by first love and kissing a wall, of course. The dried ink on the palms then ran suddenly wet, a glistening blue name in each fist. I sit now in a kind of sly trance, hoping I will not feel me breathing too close across time. A face to the name, gone. The chimes of mothers calling in children at dusk. Yes, it seems we live in those staggering years only to haunt them. The vanishing scents and colours of infinite hours like a melting balloon in earlier hands. The boredom since. Memory's caged bird won't fly. These days we are adjectives, nouns. In moments of grace we were verbs, the secret of poems, talented. A thin skin lies on the language. We stare deep in the eyes of strangers, look for the doing words. Now I smell you peeling an orange in the other room. Now I take off my watch, let a minute unravel in my hands. Listen and look as I do so, and mild loss opens my lips like no. Passing, you kiss the back of my neck. A blessing. Okay, so this poem is one where the place where it is in the collection might be useful in terms of your understanding of the poem. So let's grab a pen. You probably spotted the idea of shaken by first love, and then you probably went, hey, look at that, this poem over here is first love, because they will start to link together. So Moments of Grace kind of links us into these romance poems. Now actually today I'm going to skip a couple because we kind of need to do the romance poems together with each other rather than separately between other poems. But I just wanted to show you on here, you've got Moments of Grace, First Love, and then when you turn over you've got Cafe Royale, which we've talked about, Crush, and then it goes into other poems like Oslo. So you've got like a few that are about sort of difficult, unrequited, damaged love coming through there. And those are important because it helps you to think about what the poem's about even before you've read it. You can see where it is structurally. So if we start, first of all, we've got Moments of Grace. Bearing in mind that the collection is called Meantime, as soon as I see the word moments, I'm going to be thinking about time. And Moments of Grace, I'm instantly going to link that with the poem Disgrace, which is an awesome poem. So you've got those two kind of together. You've got that idea of language coming through. So if you remember, like in Grammar of Light, I would say that those are related. Grammar of Light. And then let's grab a pen and we'll just go through and look at the way that language is presented. So you've got wordless, my hands free to remember, which I know doesn't sound like it is language, but it kind of is. Dried ink, a name, calling in children, kind of, yeah. We are adjectives, nouns. In Moments of Grace we were verbs, the secret of poems, talented. A thin skin lies on the language, so you got the language coming through there, looking for the doing words. And a blessing. It's words, right? They go together. So, and you have this idea of the loss, like no, like a word. So you've got this idea of language coming through. Now I think this poem is easier to understand if you don't start at the beginning. If you start down here in stanza 4, it makes more sense the rest of the way. So let's do that. These days we are adjectives, nouns. In Moments of Grace we were verbs, the secret of poems, talented. So verbs are doing words. And she's saying when it was graceful, when it was our moment in the sun, when it was who we were when we were young, whatever, we were amazing, we were verbs, we were vibrant. Verbs are about immediacy and they're about doing things. But here, now, we're not verbs, we're adjectives and nouns. We've become just memories of things that you talk about afterwards, but not the things themselves. So that helps them when we look at the rest of the poem, because we can kind of go, oh, right, it's this idea of memory that's been lost or separated. So I guess you could put like, it's become stale. Because it has. If you think about my stale wife, my thick kids as well, that's obviously useful. The idea that you can't go back to the past. And we're going to hopefully look at never go back soon, and then that will make more sense. But it's the idea that you can't get life back, right? You go past it. And you can't go back to a memory. So we've got this idea of memory going through here. It's this idea that you can't. I'm going to pick a different colour so we can talk about memory and time kind of together. But it's this idea that you can't re-access memory. Do you remember nostalgia and Pluto? Both of those, the idea of memory is unreachable. It's something that you can't get back to. If I were talking about this in the Larkin, maybe like Whitsun weddings, the idea of an unreachable ideal kind of works there. You can't get back to a memory. So then you have this idea of memory coming through there. Now obviously you've got that idea of time from the beginning. You've got the idea of the moments and the moments of grace, the memories. The idea of something being familiar, so it's a memory that you've got there, or a dream is fake, it's false, it's separate. You've got the idea of shaken by first love, so it was past, it's happened. And then you've got the idea of dried ink runs suddenly wet. Because if your ink is dry, then that means that you wrote whatever it was a long time ago, right? It's finished, it's done, it's over, it's complete, it is what it is. But if the ink is wet, it means it's something that you're still writing, it's still in progress. For it to run suddenly wet gives the idea of suddenly it's come back to life again, suddenly it's become real again. Here then you have the idea of a glistening blue name in each fist. So that's the ink running suddenly wet, and the glistening blue names there is held in the fist, held tightly. You have the idea of memory again, a sly trance. At any moment now, by the way, an alarm is going to go off in my house. It's okay. I'll just turn it off. It'll be fine. It's just a timer. Hoping I will not... There you go. Hoping I will not feel me breathing too close across time. So it's the idea of knowing me breathing too close across time. So I would link that back in to something like The Good Teachers. Do you remember in The Good Teachers, she leans forward to the photograph that she's run around the back of and she's been in twice, and she breathes on the glass. In the same way here, she's in it twice, I will not feel me, but she's also breathing too close to the glass there across time from now until the photograph, and here she's breathing too close across time because she's like leaning into her memory. A face to the name gone. Now it doesn't say what's gone, so it could be that the name is gone, or it could be that the face is gone. So is the person gone, or just the memory? Memory. There we go. You have a couple times of little kind of paralinguistic things coming in here, so let's grab a different coloured pen. You'll do. There we go. So paralinguistics. Oh, hang on, it's down here as well. There you go. Paralinguistic literally means the stuff you do when you're talking that isn't talking. It's why online teaching is so tricky, because things like, if you say I've had it up to here and then you put your hand in front of your forehead, everyone knows what you mean because you're showing how much you've had it up to. If you say it was about this big and you held your arms out to show, like, I don't know, a fish that you caught, then actually everyone knows how big the fish you caught is because they can see how far apart your arms are. But those things are paralinguistic. They don't come through in poetry. You can't show someone a hand gesture. So here, when you've got my hands free to remember, at first it sounds like those paralinguistic things that are being dropped, they're being missed. So something's lost from the language. Like we kind of saw in stanza 4 the idea of something having gone out of the language. But then also, my hands free to remember links us into the idea that this is a poem, okay? It's a little bit meta, because it's a poem telling us about poems. Poemception. So what she's saying is perhaps she remembers through the process of writing, through her hand remembers. And that clarifies here, where is it? The glistening blue name in each fist makes more sense if you think about it in terms of writing, like she gets the ink on her from writing. Okay, cool. So we're going through this poem completely not in order, and I'm really sorry if you're like, I miss what is going on. So you've talked about grammar of light, we've talked about that, we've talked about the idea of writing, leaving a hand through to remember. Shaken by first love and kissing a wall, of course. The idea is that it's like she's dropped, she's missed out, she's changed somewhere. The idea of the verbs being pointed out, by the way, let's grab this for a second. We've got verbs like dream, sails, sound, leaving, remember, shaken, kissing, ran, glistening, sit, feel, hoping, breathing, calling, live, staggering, haunt, vanishing, melting, caged a bit, although won't fly, are, were, lies, stare, look, smell, take off is a verb phrase, let, listen, look, opens, do, passing, kiss, not really blessing, that's a noun. So you can kind of see how, if you look at the verbs, you can kind of see how they goes together. Oh, Miss Gowland, learn to speak English, right? Okay, you can kind of see how they go together. Can you see how you've got dream, sail, sound, leaving? It's all got this idea of like sailing away, leaving, dreamlike state. Here you've got this idea of love, right? Shaken, kissing, hoping, breathing, feel. It's all very sort of passionate. Here, calling, live, staggering, haunt, vanishing, melting. It's loss, right? Something's leaving. So you've got kind of like loss, dreaminess. Here you've got like, I'm going to put passion. I'm not sure that's the word I want, but let's put passion. Here you've got won't fly, and then you've got are, to, were, lies, stare, look. The idea of like trying to search into something. And I think especially the idea of are, to, were is interesting because it's a movement from present to past tense. Just like that stanza is about things moving from the present to the past, a movement from life to memory. And then this last one is more, it goes back to that idea of the passion, but in a different way, because it doesn't have, if you look at the endings, okay, of these ones, ing, 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 ing. These are present participles. Present participles. Just means they're ing verbs. They tend to give you the idea of something happening right now. We tend to say that they're like immediacy. Mediacy. Here though, look, they're just straight present tense. Smell, take, let, listen, look, do, opens, kiss. So this is just present tense. It's almost like it's a different form of passion. The passion has changed. It's maybe less immediate, but more real. I'm not quite sure. That's one that's open to interpretation by you guys. So, the chimes of mothers calling in children at dusk, it seems we live in these staggering years only to haunt them. Partly, I just want you to link it to prayer. I know we haven't read prayer, but I just want you to link it. And also partly, think about the idea of a self like a ghost. Think about that in terms of something like Before You Were Mine is quite a good poem for that. The Vanishing Sense links with that really well. So if we put Before You Were Mine, like so. Okay, we've done a pretty good job so far in the kind of body of the poem. Let's look just at this. There's a couple of bits here. So Memory's caged bird won't fly. Okay, you want to think about Maya Angelou. Maya Angelou. Because she wrote I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. So the concept of a caged bird as being like a passion that's trapped or changed is in literature already. And then down here, the idea of peeling the orange in the other room, I think is not a direct reference, but you could say recalls the poetry of Jacques Prévert. He wrote this poem in French, but it starts in English. It's like an orange on the table, your dress on the floor, and you in my bed, or something like that. So it's this idea of like passion and love coming back through there as well. You have then obviously the idea of mild loss opens my lips like no. What has she lost? Is it lost time? Is it lost moments? Oh, the pen is running out. Is it lost memory? What is it that's been lost? And that idea of kind of a mixture of time, memory, and romance through the concept of language, that's what you get out of this poem. I hope you are really happy with this poem. I'm really interested to see your annotations. I've seen some lovely choices of highlighter colour, I have to say. And I will speak to you next lesson.